What happens when you let iCloud decide what to save? Not what you choose, not what you manually back up, but when you let Apple's invisible algorithms, quiet automation, and space optimization features take the wheel. Here's the truth. Most iPhone and iPad users don't realize they've already done exactly that. With Optimize iPhone storage turned on, with iCloud Photos enabled, with app offloading, automatic backups, and Apple's AI-driven sync system in play, you're already letting iCloud curate your life in the background. And today on Tech Wave 65, we're digging deep into the surprisingly wild, sometimes helpful, sometimes terrifying world of what really happens when iCloud becomes the brain of your digital memory. We're going to test it, break it, explore it, and ask the big question. Are you in control of your data? Or has iCloud quietly taken control for you? Let's start with photos because that's where most of us feel the first impact. When Optimize iPhone storage is on, your full resolution photos get uploaded to iCloud, and your iPhone keeps only lightweight previews. This is great for saving space until you're offline. Ever tried to show someone an old vacation photo on a plane or in the mountains, only to see a blurred thumbnail and the words, "Downloading from iCloud"? That's iCloud deciding for you. This file isn't important enough to keep local. And if your iCloud Photos library gets full or corrupted, and you don't have a manual backup, you're stuck. Now imagine this at scale. Your 256 GB iPhone has 150 GB of media, but only 60 GB free. iCloud will automatically remove full versions of older photos and videos, even if you personally cherish them, because its algorithm doesn't read your heart, it reads last access timestamps. And that's the beginning of the trade-off. You gain space, but lose control. Let's go deeper. App offloading is another hidden automation. When enabled, iCloud quietly removes unused apps from your device while keeping your data intact. Sounds brilliant, right? Until you're in an area with no service, trying to open a boarding pass in an app that's been offloaded. Or trying to launch an editing app mid-shoot that vanished to save 200 megabytes. That's the consequence of convenience-driven automation. You only realize what's missing when you need it most. And here's where it gets wild. Even your texts, notes, voice memos, health data, and screen recordings are selectively synced and stored by Apple's cloud logic. For instance, iCloud backups don't always include all messages if you have messages in iCloud enabled, because that syncs differently. Photos inside apps like WhatsApp are third-party editors, often excluded unless saved manually. Your iCloud backup may feel complete, but in a full device failure, you might find it's missing things you assumed were safe. And speaking of backups, did you know iCloud only keeps the last one per device by default? If your latest backup is corrupted, you're done. There's no history, no undo, no time travel. And if you hit your iCloud storage limit, backups silently stop. Apple doesn't always notify you immediately. People have gone weeks thinking they're backed up when they're not. I tested this myself. I filled an iPhone 13 to the edge, enabled every iCloud feature, then tracked what it chose to store, remove, sync, or delay. The results were shocking. Files disappeared from my local storage while I was using them. Screenshots older than 60 days auto-deleted from recents. Apps I used weekly were suddenly offloaded. Notes containing sensitive keywords got synced, but stripped of attachments that were too large for iCloud's document preview engine. And during an iOS update, entire preference files were reset because iCloud didn't register them as critical user data. That's not backup. That's selective syncing. So why is this happening? Because Apple's iCloud is built on optimization, not redundancy. It assumes you want the best experience with the least effort, and in exchange, it makes decisions for you. It ranks data by age, size, access frequency, and system priority, not your emotional attachment or future importance. And while this can work beautifully for most users, it becomes a trap for power users, creators, business owners, or anyone who stores mission-critical data. Because once iCloud takes over, your assumptions become your risk. Think about iCloud Drive. It's amazing for document syncing across devices, until you learn that macOS stores many drive files as placeholders. You see the file name. You click. But if you're offline? No file. Because that file only lives in iCloud, not on your device. Multiply that across devices, across months, and suddenly you're working in a digital world where you don't know what's truly there. Even worse? iCloud doesn't warn you clearly about this. There's no system-wide dashboard showing which files are physically local versus cloud only. There's no filter. You're trusting the system blindly, and that's the problem. And don't forget shared folders. iCloud's shared folder permissions are simple, but not transparent. A person you remove from a folder might still retain cached access to older versions. Deleted files in shared folders might not disappear from someone else's system until days later. You think you're cleaning up. You're not. So what's the answer? How do you regain control when iCloud is quietly making the decisions for you? Start here. Turn off, optimize iPhone storage, if you have the space. Yes, it'll fill up your phone, but you'll own your data again. Then go into Settings, right pointing arrow, iCloud, right pointing arrow, Manage storage. Look at what's using space. Clean out old device backups. Delete zombie files from apps you haven't used in years. Then, back up manually to your computer or an external drive. Use Finder or iTunes to do a full encrypted local backup. That's your true safety net. Next, audit your iCloud drive. Click every folder. Try to open files while offline. Anything that errors out? That file isn't really there. Download copies. Zip folders. Label your critical data. For apps, disable offloading unless you truly need it. Check which apps are syncing to iCloud by going to Settings, right pointing arrow, Apple ID, right pointing arrow, iCloud, right pointing arrow, Show all. Toggle off anything you don't want silently backed up or monitored. And use AI to help you. I use ChatGPT with a file inventory system, dump a directory list, and it'll tell me what's missing locally, what's duplicated, and what's been updated recently. You can even train AI to detect file drift between your local and cloud copies. So here's the bottom line. When you let iCloud decide what to save, you're giving up control in exchange for convenience. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But in every case, the risk is yours. If you're a casual user, you might never notice. But if you're a content creator, a business owner, or someone who values your digital life, don't wait for iCloud to fail you. Audit your backups. Reclaim your space. Understand what's synced and what's not. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing about cloud storage is knowing what lives in the cloud and what doesn't. And knowing that you are the one in control, not the algorithm. Smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more tech challenges, future experiments, and real talk from TechWave 65.